It's Sunday, January 15th. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel. Breaking news, an ATR 72 has just gone down in Nepal. 72 people on board. So far, 68 fatalities recorded. There is a video of the actual crash, which clearly shows an aerodynamic stall, the left wing stalling, and the aircraft going in while on final approach to the brand new runway in Bohora, Nepal. Here's what we know so far. From the Aviation Safety Network, Sunday, 15 January, ATR 72-500, I believe that's about a 15-year-old aircraft from Yeti Airlines, 9 November, Alpha November Charlie. 72 occupants, 68 fatalities. This is a rapidly changing story. These numbers will change. Aircraft destroyed 6 kilometers west-southwest of the Bohora International Airport. This is a brand new airport which was just commissioned weeks ago in Nepal, which replaces the older airport. We'll show you that on the map here in a minute. They departed Kathmandu and the destination was Bohora. Yeti Airlines flight Yeti 691, an ATR 72-500, crashed while on final approach to runway 12 at Bohora International Airport, Nepal. The aircraft crashed on the bank of the Seti River between the old airport and the new airport and burst into flames. Local media report that the aircraft was initially preparing for an approach to runway 30. This is at the new airport, but the pilot later requested an approach to runway 12, so he switched directions completely. This is very interesting, and this is going to be a big part of this investigation. According to the published standard instrument arrival procedure, which I don't yet have at this point, an aircraft has to intercept the initial approach fix at the Bohora VOR located at the old airport at a heading of 087 and then turn right for runway 12. Distance from the initial approach fix to the runway threshold is 2.4 kilometers or 1.3 nautical miles. The Bohora International Airport was opened on 1 January of 2023, so just this month, and is located to the east-southeast of the old Bohora Airport. All previous flights of Yeti flight number 691 at the new Bohora International Airport landed on runway 30. Interesting. So this was their first shot at landing on the new runway 12. At least one other ATR 72 from Kathmandu made the approach to land on runway 12 back on January 12th, which flew to the north of the airport before turning left. I believe they're saying left on base and final for runway 12 in the vicinity of the VOR. Now, the weather at the time appears to be fine. It's clear VFR weather. I assume the winds are favoring runway 12, why he decided to switch to runway 12. But looking at the photo evidence so far of what we have here, it's apparent that he got too low and too slow and stalled the aircraft in. Of course, we can see also the landing gear is down. He's set up for the landing configuration. Investigators will need to determine the flap configuration, make sure that's correct. Investigators will need to confirm the power of the engines, make sure both engines were operating correctly. But in the video, which I cannot play here because that'll get me demonetized off of YouTube, but you can follow the links or go over to Patreon. I'll post it over there ad-free. That it appears that both engines are operating. Whether they are operating normally or not is something investigators will need to determine. So let's go through these still photo shots from the video of the actual crash. On approach, the nose is high. It appears to me that he's already yawing to the left. Stall and yaw is what creates a spin, and that's exactly what this aircraft entered, was a spin to the left. Nose comes up even higher. The critical angle of attack is reached. The wing stalls. The left wing drops. Remember, the natural human reaction when you get into one of these situations is to crank in full right aileron and up elevator as you see the ground rushing up, when you instead should be using full right rudder and down elevator. But at this point, it's too close. And the aircraft stalls into the canyon. And here you can see zoom this in here. Here you can see the application of the right aileron control in an effort to right the wing that is stalling, which is the natural human instinct, but the wrong thing to do, because that increases the angle of attack on the wing that's already stalled, exacerbating the situation by lowering the left aileron. Here on Google Maps in Nepal, Nepal, of course, home of some of the highest mountains in the world and some of the most challenging flying terrain in the world. Here's the Pokhara brand new airport, and here's the old airport located down here in the center of the town. And here is runway 12, the runway they were attempting to land on. This new runway looks to be 1.5 miles, over 7,000 feet long. Here's runway 30, the initial runway he was considering landing on before he changed his mind. And the crash occurred somewhere right over here on final for runway 12. Unfortunately, at this time, there's not a lot of flight data from Flight Radar 24 or any of the GPS gathering sites, as whether it's the terrain or the equipment on board the aircraft, there's just not a lot of data. But here's Kathmandu located down here, and here's the destination airport located right over here. So it looks to me like they would have been set up for an easy straight into runway 30, but for some reason, and I suspect it's the winds, which we'll need to get still yet from the accident report, is why the pilot elected to switch to runway 12. Yeti Airlines has been in operation for about 2 decades now and has 6 accidents on its record. Again, this is very challenging terrain in the mountains of Nepal. There's some fascinating videos out on YouTube watching some of the approaches that these pilots have to fly to some of these very short field aircraft or short field airports in mountainous terrain. So a lot of questions remain to be answered here. It's clear that the pilots lost control of this aircraft, but why? And hopefully we'll get the data recorders out of this aircraft, including the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. We'll get the conversation between the crew members, the conversation with ATC, and then with the condition of the aircraft, the condition of those engines. Were both engines running properly? Were the flaps set to the proper configuration for landing? We'll get all the weather information, including the altitude elevation and the density altitude for the airport and the winds. And the new approach procedure. Was this pilot flying the approach procedure or a visual approach? Thanks so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. I cannot play these crash videos on YouTube, or this channel will be demonetized and removed from YouTube. Thanks so much for your support. See you here.